The den breathes before the world does. A slow, hollow exhale beneath the weight of snow and months of silence. The Arctic has held its breath through the long night, through the endless dark where nothing grows and nothing forgives. Beneath that frozen skin, in a chamber carved from patience and instinct, warmth has existed. Fragile, fleeting, fiercely guarded. Now the light returns, not as warmth, never as kindness. It comes as a pale fracture in the horizon, a thin blade of gold cutting through a sky still bruised by winter. It touches the snow first, then the ridges of ice, then the silent mouth of the den. Inside, something stirs. The mother rises slowly, her body a map of endurance. Months without food have carved shadows into her strength. Frost clings to her fur like memory. Her breath emerges in slow clouds, heavy, deliberate. Behind her, smaller shapes shift. Two cubs, born into darkness, raised in stillness. They do not understand the light, but they feel it. It leaks into the den like a question. The mother moves toward it. She pauses at the threshold, her nose lifting, tasting the air. It carries distance, salt, ice, and something else, something wrong. The cubs press close to her legs, unaware that beyond this moment lies a vastness that does not care if they live or vanish. The mother breaks the surface. Snow collapses softly as she emerges into the blinding white expanse, and the Arctic reveals itself. Endless, unbroken, a horizon that promises nothing. The ice speaks, low, distant, uneasy. Something has changed, and the mother knows it. She begins to move. Each step is a decision. The cubs follow, clumsy at first, their paws sinking into snow that has never touched them before. They stumble, roll, rise again, tiny lives against an infinite world. The wind strengthens. It carries a scent, faint, seal. Hunger sharpens the mother into something precise, something ancient. She lowers her head, her body aligning with instinct older than memory itself. They move across fractured ice. The ground beneath them is no longer whole. It breaks into drifting plates, separated by dark seams of water that breathe quietly, waiting. One cub slips. The ice gives way. For a heartbeat, the world tilts toward silence. The mother moves with explosive force, jaws closing around the cub, pulling it back from the black water that promises no return. They continue. The hunt begins. She waits at a breathing hole, her body still as frozen stone. The cubs mimic her, restless but obedient to something they do not understand. Time stretches thin. A sound beneath the ice, a breath rising. She strikes. Water erupts, but the seal vanishes into the depths. Nothing. Energy lost. Hunger remains. The ice groans louder now. Cracks spread like fractures through bone. The world beneath them is breaking. The plate shifts, begins to drift. The sea has claimed it. The mother runs. The cubs follow, their small bodies driven by something deeper than fear. A widening gap, dark water below. She leaps, makes it, turns. The first cub jumps, barely surviving, claws scraping against the edge as she drags it up. The second hesitates. Just a moment. The gap widens. The cub leaps. Too short. Its body strikes the edge, then slides. The mother lunges, pulling it from the abyss just as the water surges beneath. They collapse together, alive. But the ice continues to move. Nothing here stays still. The storm arrives without warning. The sky vanishes. The horizon dissolves. Wind erupts across the frozen expanse, carrying snow that blinds, suffocates, erases. The world becomes white chaos. The mother stands against it, her body lowered, pushing forward through a force that does not recognize strength. The cubs struggle behind her, their small forms battered by wind, their steps uncertain, their bodies fading into the storm. This is not hunger. This is not cold. This is annihilation. The mother searches blindly. There is no direction, no landmark, only instinct, only movement. The storm roars louder, burying the past, swallowing the future. Then a shape, barely visible, a rise in the ice. She surges toward it, digging with desperate force, carving a hollow from the snow. Her body becomes a wall against the storm. She collapses into it. The cubs press into her. The wind howls above them, tearing at the world, trying to claim what little life remains. But she does not move. She becomes the den again. She becomes the only warmth left in a frozen world. Time dissolves. The storm rages, and still she holds. Silence returns slowly, not as peace, but as something earned. The wind softens, the snow settles, the white veil lifts, the Arctic reveals itself again, changed, broken further. The ice is scattered now, fractured into drifting pieces, the dark ocean breathing between them like something alive beneath the surface of the world. The mother rises. Her body is weaker, her steps heavier, but she stands. The cubs rise with her. They are smaller than the world, but they are still here. They step out from the hollow into a landscape that no longer resembles the one they first saw. Ahead, the sea stretches, endless, uncertain. Behind them, the den is gone, erased without memory. There is no path, no certainty, only movement, only survival. The mother walks forward, and the cubs follow, across shifting ice, across a world that does not promise tomorrow. Yet still, they move, and in that movement, fragile and defiant, something extraordinary remains. Life, refusing to disappear.